I guess my question is, and I came in late, I apologize if you've already covered this, but when you have the not detrimental to the surrounding community, and now we just had a discussion in response to my colleague's question about negative impact on an existing business, and you're saying in some cases that's not detrimental. So I'm trying to understand what the not detrimental to the surrounding community means in terms of impact on existing businesses, particularly if it was another tribe who had an established gaming facility nearby.
Thank you, Ranking Member DeFazio. You know, it's detrimental is sort of a balancing act. On balance, does the casino or the new proposed gaming operation, on balance, you know, have a overall cumulative negative effect or a cumulative positive effect? And for many communities, they're very much in favor of the development because it's going to bring jobs to the community, it's going to bring construction to the community, it's going to bring development to the community. So there will, in almost every community, there's a group of people that are opposed and there's a group of people in favor. And so we have to kind of balance that out and figure out what's the net. Is it net detrimental or is it net positive? And it's not a scientific analysis. It's the analysis that Congress gave us when it used that language, detrimental impact. I blame Sharon Young for that.
Really? Don, do you have a... No, never. You were just blamed for the vague determination of what's detrimental to the surrounding community.
Man, Frank Dishino did that. I'll blame him, all right?
Okay, reclaiming my time then. So there's no like specific regulatory guidance? I mean, do you have precedents you go back and look at? Or, I mean, I'm just trying to get, because this is your political, and as the job, people, you go from administration to administration. I'm just wondering, how much can this swing?
Well, we certainly have to, we are prohibited by law from behaving in an arbitrary and capricious fashion, so we have to...
but does that mean you have to be consistent?
Well, it has at least somewhat consistent, because being too inconsistent would be arbitrary. And by the way, as to that analysis, the governor, of course, gets to make the final call, the governor of the state. So the governor ultimately can say whether it's detrimental or not, too, if the governor chooses. So if the governor disagrees, the governor can give the thumbs down, even though we have approved one of those two-part determinations. So I'm not the only political actor involved in those decisions.
And if a governor does that, what's the recourse at that point?
It's done. It's done. They don't
that's not litigable?
I don't think that the governor's actions have been litigated. I don't recall a case where that's been the case, because it's pretty much purely a political decision of the governor, and so I haven't seen that, and I pay attention to this field a fair bit.
Right. Are there any, and again, I apologize for not being here earlier and thoroughly read all the materials we provided, but I mean, are there major pending cases that might lead to further reinterpretation of the two-part process? Well,
I wouldn't say that we are looking to do any reinterpretation of the process. The process has been working since 1988. It doesn't work often. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but it's imperfect. It's got some ambiguous terms, and we've tried to define those in our regs. But
you did have changes when you had the commuting standard that was sort of overruled or discarded after some controversy, et cetera.
Yeah, we don't foresee making any major policy guidance in that area. We've tried to look at our past decisions and be consistent with what we've done in the past. And, I've had the opportunity to make one of these decisions fairly recently, and we consider these things fairly carefully. So the most recent decision we issued is about it's about 53 pages long, and it's got more than 360 footnotes citing how we considered all the factors. And that's just the opinion letter. There's also a record of decision that's 50 pages plus several stacks of notebooks of supporting documents. So these are very difficult exercises, and they are very carefully considered. I'm not saying that we get it right every time, but we do consider them very carefully. And that's a process that's really grown since IGRA. We give a lot more attention to these nowadays. I mean, over time, it seems like we produce a lot more paper and a lot more rigorous study than we did when we first started doing this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the gentleman.